Cole MUNRO-CHITTY. How are you doing, Cole? Great to see you, man.
Hey, glad to be here. Really excited to see everybody, Foz and Fatchy in the chat. Love your guys' channels.
Yeah.
And I'm stoked to share some artwork tonight and chat about some movies. So.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, with movie chat and everything. I don't know. Have you seen that? There was like a little Lee Cronin, the guy that wrote the Evil Dead Rise movie and directed that film. So I don't know if you follow him on socials, but he,
I saw something he's doing.
He put out like a script with the title scribbled out. So he scribbled out the titles, like working with Blumhouse, and I think it's Atomic Monsters. The other is it James Wan's production company, I think.
Yeah.
And they're talking about we're going to be bringing back an ancient evil. He used the word nightmare while describing the kind of horror. Do you think this is a Nightmare on Elm Street thing that they're teasing here? Have you seen that? Have you seen anybody else talking about it? Because that's immediately where all the people, all the talking heads like myself, I'm like, I'll let everybody else talk about it. But that's what everyone's saying.
I don't know. I think that's too good to be true. I haven't seen anybody say that, but we can only hope. Cross our fingers. That'd be a good guy to attach to the project. So.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Like, if he were to get something like that, like, how would you feel about it? Did you enjoy Evil Dead Rise?
I thought it was fine. It's definitely not my favorite Evil Dead or my favorite horror movie from the last couple of years, but it was fine for what it was. I'll probably never watch it again. I probably don't need to see it twice.
Well, and I felt like such a jerk because I'm just such a huge fan. And the previews look so good, so I was like, oh, this is gonna.
Well, they showed you everything good in the preview, already. So.
And that's what I figured. Is I was kind of a dummy. I was like, oh, if they're showing that in the trailer, then the movie's gonna like really go nuts. Because if I remember correctly, when Fede Alvarez did his Evil Dead film back in 2013, like, I mean, the way that they push things in that movie, like you couldn't show that in a trailer, really,
Right, yeah.
And that movie completely blew my socks off. I guess I was hoping that Rise would take it even further than that, but it didn't. It didn't even get to that point.
No, I'm super excited for a couple things coming out this year. I'd have to say probably number one on my list right now is Smile 2. Huge fan of the original film. I just thought, they took a concept that was a really short horror movie on YouTube and then ran with it and made a really cool sort of like, just dark and gritty and kind of suffocating film. I don't know. It's really good. Have you seen that one, Smile?
I'm so bad. I've not seen Smile.
You got to check it, man. I know. You got to check it. It's really good.
And everyone's been going nuts over the trailer for the sequel. And I'm like, oh, man, I got to see the first one before I watch the trailer. But it looks like it's got it. Is it one of those types of movies that's sort of like a curse being passed on kind of thing? Like,
it is
the way like the Ring and the Grudge and It Follows, like in that kind of. I guess that's a subgenre. That's like its own subgenre now. Is
it's pretty funny. We've been watching. Me and my wife have been watching a bunch of that subgenre in the last couple of weeks, and I've kind of dubbed it. And this is not derogatory or anything, but I've dubbed them as walking sim horror movies. So if you've ever played like a walking sim video game, you're just kind of like walking through. You don't really have a lot of agency or anything. So like there's certain criteria that these movies have to meet to be a walking sim. And I've got a few here. So something paranormal or supernatural is happening to the main character. All right. And nobody believes them. Or if they do, it's like they're really close circle. It's also happening to them. Right. Or like it's happened to them. And then like, it's like overly dramatic pacing and themes with the music and things like that. Like just super dramatic. Like you think The Ring, it's just like, dun, 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 dun. And then an investigation has to take place. So the main character has to like, investigate and figure out what's going on. And there's usually like some sort of mysterious expert or somebody that it's already happened to that they have to go to and talk to. And this isn't every horror movie. So like you think about a lot of different genres of horror movies, they're all like, they're either like haunted house or like trapped in some place with the killer, like the woods or a neighborhood or whatever, or or trapped in a mall or whatever, but these walking sim movies are very specific. Not to be confused with haunted house or haunted location movies, because it usually doesn't take place in one location. The character's like free to move around in the world.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
But a lot of times they'll come back to one location, like their house or a halfway house or a prison or whatever. Like one location, their work, so one location that they're constantly returning to. Right. And then there's always like a lifeline character, like a tentative love interest. Like usually these movies have female protagonists, right? And so like the tentative love interest is like some guy, that they like, but nothing ever actually happens between them because there's fucked up things happening to them or whatever. And then they're kind of like, they're just going about their everyday life. We're just following them. This is why it feels like walking sim. You're just kind of like following them around, like as they trying to figure out what's going on. Ultimately, they have to settle it in one way or another, whether or not it's, they make it out or not. Like there's plenty of films where they don't make it out, like spoilers, drag me to hell, It Follows, technically, it's kind of a little ambiguous whether they make it out at the end of that one. I won't spoil the one that we saw, or the one that we were just talking about, Smile. But there's plenty of movies where they do make it out. So other movies I would put on this list is like my tops is obviously The Ring is just amazing. We just watched that one like last week. Gothica is another one.
I remember Gothica.
Everyone thinks she like killed her husband and stuff, and like it turns out there's some killers. So The Empty Man from a couple years back, amazing movie. Dude,
I don't even know if I've heard of that one.
Yeah, so like everybody tried to give it shit because it sounded like The Bye Bye Man or something like that, but it's not. It's nothing like that. It's like
everyone hated The Bye Bye Man.
It's like this guy who was a cop, and like his family got killed in a car accident, and he's kind of walking around, and like all this like cult stuff is happening around him. He like stumbles upon this cult, and they're like suicidal and stuff, and it's really weird, but it's a total walking sim. Like by the end of it, he figures out everything that's happening to him. It's a really good film. The Mothman Prophecies, another one I would put up there. Richard Gere having to go to the town to figure out what's going on there. The Mothman. Hereditary-ish, like mostly because like it follows a lot of the criteria that I'm talking about like you're kind of following them in their daily life, and like something's happening to them, but you don't quite know what it is, and they don't quite know what it is, right? It Follows, Drag Me to Hell, just like some great movies in the subgenre. And it's weird because like I just kind of noticed it, and I was like, wow, these all kind of fit the same criteria.
And they all, it seems like a lot of them too have like there's an element where they have to go investigate like the origins of the curse, or like I think in The Ring she goes and talks to like Brian Cox's character, like out on the near the ocean on the bluffs or whatever.
At the same time, what's his name is doing an investigation in the records room, like in the city.
Gotcha.
So like,
So it's like they kind of like, it's almost like a book, like a novel. It's just like a little young adult novel, kind of getting you through. But yeah, man, I mean, The Ring really stands up, especially for being PG-13. Like just the little, you can, I don't know what it is, but you can make the hairs on the backs of people's necks stand up with just, the right look or image. And that film certainly did that. Yeah, big time. And Drag Me to Hell, man, I thought that was a really fun, it gave me those Evil Dead 2 vibes where I'm like, it's, kind of scary, but also like just sort of funny. And I really liked where they took the effects.
Hot take, but I actually think Drag Me to Hell is Sam Raimi's best movie. So
best movie ever? Wow.
Yeah,
all right.
Of all his movies,
Interesting. Better than Spider-Man 2.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. Maybe I need to watch it again.
I'm not a huge superhero guy, so
gotcha.
That's probably has some bias there, but yeah.
And for me, it's just really that second Spider-Man stands out. I don't know what it is. If it's Alfred Molina as like the tragic villain, I think I really liked that. Plus, it seemed like he was able to like really put his style in that one more than the first and the third, and definitely more than friggin' Doctor Strange, whatever the heck he what they made him do in that sequel to Doctor Strange.
Right. Yeah. We won't talk
I was like, all right, so was the compromise that you get to make Doctor Strange look like a Deadite for like 5 minutes towards the end of the movie, and that's it? That's the only thing? Right. Or, oh, sorry, you can have Bruce Campbell be like a hot dog vendor. We'll let you have those two things. Right, but other than that, it just has to play like a Marvel movie. That is the walking sim. What did you call it now? Walking sim.
Yeah, it's just a walking sim horror movie. Yeah.
Walking sim horror movie.
Yeah.
and we're about to get more, right? Now
we're gonna get more. Yeah, Smile 2 is on the way. So
yeah. Would you consider something like Talk to Me in that same genre, or is that a little bit outside of that?
For sure. Yeah. Talk to Me. Did you watch it? Have you seen that yet?
I've not seen it yet. I'm so bad.
You're missing out on.
I know.
So there's 3 now that you're missing out on. I'm going to hold you to the fire on these. It's that one, it's Smile, and it's Barbarian.
Yeah.
You gotta see them. Yeah,
I know that you guys can eviscerate me in the chat. I don't try to hide it at all. I let everyone know all the time. I'm like, guys, there's so much I haven't seen that I have to catch up on. I don't even have a really good excuse at all.
Yeah. Just like, I really wish we got a lot of good movies these days, and there are a few gems out there. So I'll speak up for them when I can.
I think so, and I think sometimes it's just like there's a couple things going on. I think like everyone's talking like, well, why aren't people going to the movie theater? And I'm like, well, man, it doesn't really help when like the week after you put your movie out in the theater, you tell everyone when it's going to be on streaming. Like that's just going to cut the legs out from under it, right? So that's one thing. And then of course, because everyone talks about it, I mean, myself included, but everyone, even folks that aren't necessarily content creators that, go to YouTube or wherever just to like share their thoughts on things, or, Twitter, Instagram, wherever it is, it's like, the hype can get built up so much. So you can go see a movie that like, maybe you would have loved if you didn't hear from everyone for like a month and a half how great it was before you watched it on streaming, which I felt like Late Night with the Devil and Abigail both had a little bit of that, where it was like there was all this hype and 2 really good, totally different kind of horror movies, but I think the hype, for some stung one and for others stung the other.
Sure.
Now, did you catch either of those yet? Have you seen those?
Yeah, we caught Late Night for the first time like a couple weeks ago, and then Abigail probably around the same time. So
yeah, what do you think of those?
Late Night was good. It was a little avant-garde, I guess, for my taste.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And then Abigail was just a little too ridiculous for me. I don't know. It just felt like it wanted to be like 3 different movies, kind of.
Yeah, we should talk about that because I got stuff to say about Abigail. Because everyone that was the one for me. Like, I went and saw Late Night with the Devil opening weekend. Kate and I went and saw it the first night. I was completely immersed, and maybe because I was in the theater, it was really cool to see it go from that 3:4 to the widescreen black and white and all that. It just sort of like engrosses you into what's going on there. I also saw Abigail in the theater it was like a press screening, and I was sitting there like, man, am I the jerk? Because everyone was like hooting and hollering. And I was just sort of like, this thing took like 45 minutes to like actually get going when the trailer already like did all the setup. So I figured by like 25 minutes, we should start seeing people get killed. That's like and then it felt like, I think you hit it like dead on, that it feels like it's trying to be a few different things. Like, is this House on Haunted Hill from 99? Is this From Dusk Till Dawn? Is it Evil Dead? Like, and why do we keep on going back to this whole you had to leave your son kind of thing? They acted like the audience was forgetting the main part of the main character.
Right. Yeah. Honestly, it felt like just the writers hadn't ever written a movie before. Like maybe they wrote for TV or something. It kind of felt like a Supernatural episode or something, like in a bad way though. Like Supernatural is a good show, but it just felt like very, I don't know, like something you just find on TV, like an hour-long episode.
Yeah, maybe a little too small, a little too contained, and they just had to like stretch it out. Because it just
felt drawn out because of that. Yeah.
There were things I really liked. Like some of the characters, I was like, oh man, they've got great chemistry. But then it seemed like, yeah, there was this identity crisis where I was like, man, if they just leaned into the fun aspect, maybe trim it down like 10 to 15 or 10, 15 minutes, cut, some fat off of it there. I would have had a way better time. But man, even in like the last 25 minutes, I was like, you guys are still revealing new shit. Like, and this will crack you up, Cole, because I know we talked about this in our previous interview. Guys, you can check that out on the channel if you want to see the big old talk. We had touched on the latest Scream movies, and these are the guys that did the latest Scream movies.
Oh, and that makes sense. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And I have that same kind of thing with them where I'm like, oh, you guys are almost there for me, but just not quite, but successful enough to keep on getting work.
I mean, yeah, nobody ever said you had to have skill to be successful. So
yeah, and it's like one of those things where it's like, well, I guess it just doesn't fit my taste, at least doesn't fit my taste completely. But yeah, certain aspects like loved the blood explosions in that movie. That was really fun. And yeah, some of the character stuff was all right, but it could have been
I've
so
seen blood
better.
explosions on True Blood,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean
that's I guess for a while an actual good show. So
and maybe that's just me grasping for something, because it was like at the last act of the movie, I was like, well, I guess they are giving me some blood here. I'll throw them a bone on that.
Like I like the idea of the story, but it just felt like it felt like a Tales from the Crypt episode. Like, why is this thing 2 hours long? Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. And everyone was like, well, they shouldn't have given it away that she's a vampire in the trailer. I'm like, no, that's fine. Like, you can give that away in the trailer, but just make sure that when you go see the movie that it just kind of gets to that.
Just make sure it's interesting and it builds up to it. In the right way. Yeah, totally.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what else are you looking forward to this year? Are you, looking forward to Maxine or?
Yeah, I'm a huge Ty West fan. Ever since his early stuff, like House of the Devil's great. I love the Innkeepers. Innkeepers is like one of my favorite ghost movies. The Sacrament, his found footage movie. That's like the Jim Jones cult. Like these guys go to an island with video cameras and it turns out to be a fucking Jim Jones cult and they're all committing suicide that weekend.
Yeah, didn't he direct like on one of the VHS movies, he directed like a short that was kind of like that? Right? Is that just sort of an expanded idea on that, or does he take it in a totally different direction? Because I think that's
it's totally different. Yeah, Sacrament's really good. Yeah, it's worth a watch for sure. If you like, if you like Ty West, and I mean the found footage aspect works into it really well. And then the first two in this series, like I had no idea it was going to be a series. Obviously, A24 knew they struck gold with Ty West, and I'm so glad that they did, because he is one of the best of our generation for sure.
Oh yeah. He like, I love the slow burn aspect that he brings. Like he really earns the creep factor. I feel like I'm a huge fan of that 1980 George C. Scott starring film, The Changeling. I'm a huge fan of The Changeling. And like, I think that Ty West, in the Innkeepers and House of the Devil, there has a little bit of that vibe, like, I know that, X and Pearl and of course, and Maxine, they look to be different than that, but it is really cool to see, that sort of like an old fashioned kind of style brought to the modern era, and I feel like that's what he brings for sure.
I feel like those movies were kind of like his like love letter to older cinema, kind of like his film school phase, if you will. And then now he's kind of like in his exploitation phase, sort of like Quentin Tarantino. In Pulp Fiction, kind of.
Maxine definitely has that kind of Tarantino sort of.
Yeah, it reminds me of there's these two movies called I don't remember what the second one's called, but the first one's called, I think, Avenging Angel, with I think it might be Linda Blair. I'd have to check again, but they were on I caught them on like Tubi a while back, and they're really good, like actual 80s exploitation films about this girl that like just moves to New York on a whim, and then she gets raped or whatever, and she just has to go and kill everybody that was involved, you know, like, but really cool, gritty, like actual New York streets in the 80s type of movie, like action movie.
Is one of those called Savage Streets? Is that the other one? Because
no, the second one also had a play on Angel. It was Angel.
Oh, okay.
Something. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But same idea. Same idea. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a big thing in the 80s. It was like, you know, all those Charles Bronson movies. There's something strange about those 80s movies that if a few guys saw a woman on the street, it was just like immediately went to the worst possible outcome. For whatever reason, the filmmakers were like, this is just what happens all the time. And it's like, wow, that's a pretty twisted version of reality. I'm not saying those things don't happen, but it made it look like it's guaranteed, like no matter what, you know. A hell of a time in filmmaking there. Yeah. What about Alien Romulus? Are you an Alien guy? I'd imagine you've got to be, right?
Yeah. I mean, of course. Yeah, I love it's Fede, right? Doing that one.
Yeah.
I love what he did with Evil Dead, so you know, bring it on.
Yeah, the Alien franchise is so strange because it's like, you know, I mean, the first two are classics, you know, kind of a mixed bag after those. You know, I feel like when I was a kid, I liked Alien 3, but I think it was just because it was new and I was a kid. I haven't watched it like in a really long time.
You should watch it again. It's pretty good.
I like the gritty look and everything. I like that the alien had a different, you know, because it came out of a dog. It had a totally different, like, you know, style and like posture and everything like that. I really liked a lot that Prometheus had to like offer. I thought it was a beautiful looking film and liked a lot of it, but it felt like
how you skipped right over Resurrection.
Yeah. Well, you know, Resurrection, I've probably only seen it once. I think I've only seen it once. And again, like just sort of a movie from like, you know, just that moment in time where it was like only in that era could you make an alien movie that was just so like bizarre, right? Because it feels like when you look at the other movies in the franchise, you're like, they look relatively grounded compared.
It really felt like straight to DVD material. Yeah.
Yeah. Some of the you know, the props that all the different versions of the aliens that like Brad Dourif's scientist character had like in the tubes and everything was pretty wild. Yeah, I mean, a pretty gnarly cast there. I mean, you've got Ron Perlman, Winona Ryder, Brad Dourif, like, you know, pretty amazing.
Was the black guy the lead singer of Seven Dust?
Was it? I don't even know. That would be incredible.
Always thought so. We always thought so when it came out.
Yeah,
like, oh.
That would be like the most late 90s thing to do ever.
Yeah,
is totally. Just have the singer from Seven Dust be in there. But I think Joss Whedon wrote that or wrote some version of that script. I don't know if he was the one that wrote the original version, but I know that was one of the first, I think, like films that he worked on outside of, you know, I doubt he really had much to do with the original Buffy film other than, you know, selling the rights. It doesn't sound like he had much control. Right. But Alien Resurrection, I think, was one of the first things he wrote that wasn't like his own property. So that's a really, you know, interesting little piece of history there. I don't know. I really don't know. It's probably not. I wonder what else he's written that we don't know about that's really bad, right?
Right.
Like all the J.J. Abrams Superman scripts that never got turned into anything, right? Because there were a whole bunch of those apparently, or just multiple drafts of that. Maybe it's because J.J. couldn't think of an ending for the movie. I don't know. He seems to have trouble with that.
Typical. Yeah.
Typical. But let's see. I want to hop on over and see what the chat is saying. I did see a little. So Foz says Savage Streets is a Linda Blair joint, though.
Oh,
okay. With Linnea Quigley. Okay.
So I think I was getting those two mixed up. I wonder who was in Avenging Angel. I just don't remember.
Chat, look it up.
If anybody's ever seen that in the chat, yeah.
And Tyler talking about the face huggers, I would imagine those rapey space spiders. Oh, jeez. Yeah, I thought with the anniversary of Alien not being that long ago, and I've seen, especially with the new film coming out, people have been talking about like which one is better, Alien or Aliens. Like, I think it's so tough to compare them, right? Because they're almost like different genres to me. I'm just so happy that the second
one's a horror, one's a haunted house movie, and one's just a straight up action movie. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's cool. I mean, like Alien fans are lucky that the sequel isn't just a rehash of the original.
I mean, James Cameron's a master, at doing that. Even if you look at Terminator 1 to Terminator 2, like it's almost the exact same thing. You had like a slasher movie in the very first film, and then you go straight to fucking one of the best action movies ever made,
Yeah, and I think the Terminator 2 to me sort of plays almost like a remake of the original. It's like, he tweaked a couple elements, but if you look at I watched them back to back,
it's got the same through line. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like even the same beats of like, all right, so there's the action scene. And while they're getting away during the action scene, like the hero is telling the would-be victim, like what's going on and all about that Terminator that's chasing them, and like very similar elements. But yeah, I mean, Cameron, what he does with bringing technology to the forefront as far as filmmaking goes. I mean, I don't know if there's, a filmmaker that is as responsible, at least, in the last 50 years or so, of pushing filmmaking forward so damn far. I think that's one thing that we can get lost in the conversation, right? When you talk about somebody like him, maybe it's the focus is on like the stories he tells and all that stuff. And it's like, well, I mean, when they did The Abyss, they basically started working on Photoshop and then created Photoshop to do Terminator 2. Like I think that's one of those things that I don't know if many people know that's like how that program came to be, was because of a film, like, which is a pretty amazing thing to think about,
Didn't Peter Jackson, he had a studio that created a bunch of visual effects, right, for the Frighteners, and then that went on to be like all the like cloth and like fur effects for a bunch of
I think that's Weta. I think Weta is his company that he started. And I mean, you look at the practical effects. I mean, even going all the way back to Bad Taste, which is like a really, rough looking film is as far as all things are concerned, but still, just very ambitious. Almost like, I mean, the original Evil Dead, he said, was like the inspiration for it. And you can definitely feel that kind of vibe. But then going over to like Dead Alive, the visual effects get even slicker. They're still practical. But then, all of his tricks and everything that he did for Lord of the Rings, forced perspective and all that kind of stuff mixed with the special effects. It's I think that's one thing that like, we can kind of get stuck in this camp of like, no, we don't want any digital effects, or no, we don't, when it's like, well, we really want a good blending of the two, right? It's like, you do want some special effects, but you also want the practical there, and the special effects can, the computer effects can, help clean up some of those practical effects or enhance them,
Right.
I mean,
we just watched Nightmare 4 tonight, and there's a lot of great practical effects, but there are a couple of digital effects as well. They were using some green screen technology in that movie, so
I think Nightmare 4, like, I don't know if you saw my franchise ranking that I put out about a month ago for
I did,
the series.
Did I sway your opinion on Wes Craven's New Nightmare? Because I know we talked about it, but I didn't know you held it in such high regard like I do.
Oh, I mean, I've always loved it. Like, since I probably didn't see it until I know I didn't see it in the theater. I was probably a little too young to see it in the theater. I probably saw it right around the time that like Scream came out, something like that on VHS. I've always really enjoyed it. And I guess like for me, it's sort of like, I mean, it's in a way, it's like the original Legacy sequel. And but I think that definitely with, people talking about it a lot more, that conversation that we had for sure was a good time to just like kind of dive into it a little bit better. And I really enjoyed Dylan's New Nightmare as well. So it sort of like helped me have an even bigger appreciation for that story. So I think the surprise for me going back and watching them is I thought that part 2 was going to be in like my top 3 or 4, and part 2 kind of slid back just on this last watch through. I don't know what I felt like. I think what I said in the ranking is that it seemed like there was a lot of the same, like Jesse just kind of saying the same stuff from scene to scene. Like, I don't know what's happening to me. And there just wasn't like, again, kind of like what we were saying about Abigail. It was almost like this would have been a cooler, shorter movie, or they needed to add something to really like flesh it out a little bit better. But man, part 4 was
there also weren't a lot of cool deaths in number 2. You got a lot of off-screen deaths and stuff like that. But yeah, part 4, man, we watched it again tonight, and like I don't think my wife had seen it, or she's seen it. She'd only seen it like once, because we always kind of talk about all the great ones, right? Like quote unquote great ones, and those are the ones we kind of watch all the time. But we watched 4 tonight, and she was like, I think this might be better than part 3, because like the deaths are just kind of a lot cooler. Like you've got Freddy's death is definitely way cooler at the end, with all the like arms reaching out of him and stuff.
Yeah,
the big torso that they built with all the people underneath it. Like, got like this cast of characters that are just being taken out one by one by one by one until Alice gets her powers. Like,
yeah, everything. Rennie Harlan did that one, right?
Yeah. Where we were watching it, I was looking up his filmography, and I was like, you know why this is good? Die Hard 2. Fucking
Cliffhanger, right?
Yeah, cliffhanger.
Strangers Chapter 1. Well, forget that last one.
Yeah, we won't talk about that.
But yeah, the ambition in part 4 is really huge. I feel like, of course, Dream Warriors is awesome. Like, I do love Dream Warriors, but it's really fun to see like them let it fly a little bit more, I think, in part 4. Right. And Alice in that one, like her whole suiting up to go fight Freddy, where she puts on like a charm from each one of her friends. Like, I eat that shit up. I don't care what movie it is. I love that shit. And I mean, the practical effects, they're just really inventive. And that's like, the true beginning probably of that like MTV Freddy, I would say, is part 4. I mean,
for sure. Yeah.
He's funny and everything in part 3, but I don't think people knew he was going to be funny. I think by the time 4 came around, they're like, all right, we're ready for like all the quips and all the silliness.
After 3 other movies, like he was a pop icon at that point.
Yeah.
Some of the effects in that movie that really stood out for me, the little head meatballs on the pizza. There's some that don't look very good, but then when they would like zoom in on it, it's the actual actor's face and stuff. Like, so good.
Like they did the makeup and like did the composition of the shot. Yeah, it's
so good. It's the giant like blade that goes into his head and stuff. Like, and then like what's her name? The tall gal's death. When he turns her into the bug when she's working out and crashes her in the Rich Motel. Like, that death's so fucking cool. Like, I don't know. Like, I think it might be better than 3, because like 3 has like some pretty cheese ass deaths. Like when he picks the little D&D kid up and just kind of like, and then when he just stabs Nancy. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Fucking John Saxon just gets fucking thrown onto a thing,
Yeah, so is that
fine?
Do you think people love 3? Do you think people give 3 the edge because it brings Nancy back and brings John Saxon back? Or is it Dawkins? So. Do you think it's all Dawkins?
Yeah, it's all Dawkins. It's all the bass player from Dawkins, who's now the bass player for the Journey band.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that... He switched.
I call it the Journey band because there's only like one remaining member, like the lead guitarist or something.
Yeah, well, Journey. I mean, come on. What the only Journey song that I really like is "Any Way You Want It" from the film Caddyshack.
Yeah, that's good.
That's good. Yeah, because that one actually rips. All the other Journey songs are just ballady, or at least all the ones on the radio. Get that.
I think people like number 3 so much because it's so different from the first 2 films. Like, it feels like it actually has a big budget, which the first 2 movies don't at all. And then you know, it's Freddy like toying with his victims again, right? Like he toyed with them a lot in number one, and he just like toyed with Jesse in the second one, you know, but toying with everybody, like having a big cast of characters again that were all like ready to be on the chopping block, I think. And definitely the television scene doesn't hurt it at all. So
sure. Yeah. Everyone loves the welcome to prime time, bitch.
Yeah.
Everyone loves that. Right?
Yeah.
The one line that Robert got to improv there. I think.
One of my favorite parts is on, I think it's the beginning of Freddy's Dead. Well, it has like a Nietzsche quote, like "those who dare to dream to sleep" or whatever, and then it has Freddy's quote, "Welcome to prime time, bitch." It's so good.
They're showing their hand there, right, with Freddy's Dead.
Yeah.
I do love like the Goo Goo Dolls song that opens up the movie. I think the soundtrack on Freddy's Dead's pretty fun there.
Yeah, it's good. The soundtrack for part 4 is fucking banging, dude.
Oh yeah, that too.
Oh yeah, so good.
Yeah, and gosh, when you were talking about Freddy's Dead, my mind went blank. That's just what Freddy's Dead is gonna do to you. Just you're talking about the quote from Nietzsche. There was something I was gonna say, it totally left. But yeah, you know, Freddy, like that was an interesting time there because, you know, like Jason's kind of cooling off. Michael has been like missing for years until like 1988 or something like that. Probably the year that part 4 came out, right?
Part 4 came out.
So, and Freddy was just like, you know, king of the hill then. He was, I mean, MTV Freddy full bore. Part 4 is the one with like the sand shark Freddy, right?
Yeah. She's like, her mom gives her sleeping pills and she's like, dream somewhere fun, and she just wakes up on the beach. Yeah.
So great to see. Even, you know,
I've got a sweet piece where I did the where he's putting the sunglasses on.
Yeah.
And I made it all kind of like retro. Yeah, it's really cool.
I totally know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's a great shot. Yeah, it's got that like rad 80s kind of look with the colors and everything. Yeah,
it's like the squiggles and the glasses and stuff.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man. So yeah, maybe Lee Cronin is working on a little something new for Freddy. I know our next guest is working on a little something new for Freddy to follow up on Dylan's new nightmare. And I saw, Robert, if you're still in the chat, I saw you put in there that Cecil needs the link, so I sent it to him on Twitter, and hopefully he got it.
Nice.
Because I can't text while I'm hosting the show. It's the one thing I can't do while I'm hosting the show is like, sorry, everyone, wait while I text.
Do you want to check out some art? I think I can share my screen here. Let's see.
Yeah, guys. So just to, you know, remind you or to let everyone know that came in a little bit later, you know, Cole was watching one of the earlier episodes of the show, put together like basically a design, like a, you know, kind of like a logo for just the Davey Deathray channel. And then we started chatting about putting together some other stuff, but I have not seen any of this. I saw that initial logo that he put together, but this is all going to be, you know, first time reaction here.
Can you see that?
Okay. Yeah, I can add it here. Let me do this. There we go. All right. Oh yeah, and I think you've got control there, right? Do you still have control of that screen?
Yes.
Perfect. I love this design here.
Yeah, there we go. That's the first thing I drew. Yeah, I was just watching the show and this kind of sprung to mind. So I got the headphones in there. And,
hell yeah.
The ubiquitous instrument here. Kind of wanted to make it look a little bit like the Scream knife, you know, the stab knife.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, it's one of those things, like when I first saw it, it's like, you know, on the one hand, you're like, oh my God, it's just so sweet when somebody, you know, is thinking about you when they're being creative or whatever. And then to see just I love your style. I love the roughness of it all. And guys, if you haven't checked out Cole's art, there are links in the description below, so you can check out you know, his WordPress and his DeviantArt page and everything like that. I got to put your link though for your t-shirts and everything. I don't know if you have just one link that goes to all the designs that you've created there. But yeah, I love your style here, and you it's all digital, right? Everything you're working on.
Yeah, I switched over to digital a long time ago, like 10 years ago, and just never looked back. So it's just
one of those things.
It's so much cheaper, and no fuss.
And it's like we were saying earlier, like you know, with the digital effects and films and stuff, it's like you still have to draw it. Like it's just another tool. Just like I remember like Todd McFarlane saying like people were giving him shit for going digital, and he's like, a pencil and a piece of paper is a tool. Like now I'm just using a different tool. Like
exactly.
There's not really a difference here.
Yeah, you still use a lot of the same skills that you've taught yourself over the years, you know.
Yeah.
So. So speaking of t-shirts, I was thinking we could put some of these on t-shirts.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. I think this one will transfer really well. Yeah.
Yeah. Alley Girl loves it. Yeah, it's a great design. I love the colors too. Those are our high school colors as well, which is great because it works for everything.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
It's just blood and black. It just works.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm just going to use a lot of red most of the time. So get ready for it. All right. So the next one I want to show off is the titular design for tonight's show.
Oh my God, that is incredible. Holy shit. That is wild.
Yeah, boy.
Oh my God, I look so cool. How did you make me look so cool?
I mean, I had the clay, and
I've got more chiseled features. It's great. I do definitely have more of a vampiric look. Yeah, that's awesome,
you know,
man.
It looks like you've been staying up late and, you know, eating well. So
yeah, a great shit-eating grin. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is too cool. Everyone's loving it in the chat. I don't know if you have that pulled up, but I got to share these.
I do have the chat. Yeah. Yeah, I did like the cityscape behind you and everything too. Kind of sketch that in real quick.
Yeah,
to make
that's
it look
awesome.
like a late night show, you know.
Yeah, I got
the jacket.
Got
the jacket.
Yeah, the jacket, the shirt, it's all like that. It's amazing. I feel I'm blushing over here. And then Foz says reminds me of Vice City, and I can see what he's saying.
Oh yeah, totally.
And the fonts, I think like sometimes on those Grand Theft Autos, they kind of had that Godfather-esque font, which the Late Night with the Devil font is very similar.
Right, yeah.
Lost Boys Fang, says Jamie.
Yeah.
This is way too cool.
Yeah, so we got that on a shirt.
Amazing.
Sweet. Yeah. All right.
That is awesome.
Let's go. I got two more that I want to show you guys.
All right.
So I did one for Movie Punks.
Oh my God. This is unreal. Look at I'm all tatted up. I love that face, that like, well, this is it.
This is it. Foz looks like he's passed out drunk.
That's amazing. Foz, what do you think? You're in the there you go. What?
So I didn't even see
cool
your shirt.
Is that?
Your shirt says the night he came home.
That's amazing.
Your tats, evil dies on the knuckles. I know how much of a fan you are.
Yeah, you know, I do like some Halloween kills. The Jason mask, the spider. This is amazing. I'm trying to get in a little closer. And Foz, is that like a cassette shirt that he's got?
Yeah,
or
it's like a
boombox.
Yeah, it's a boombox.
Hell yeah! Everyone is eating this up.
You got Deathray and Raimi on your patches.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. I can't, my face hurts from smiling. This is way too cool.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah. This one was a blast. I like doing these colors, you know.
Yeah.
I work a lot. I work a lot in like monochromatic color scheme, which is kind of like I'll just
Yeah.
run with like one color and then do some accents with it. But being able to do stuff like this where I get to run with a bunch of colors, super fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it helps it stand out a little bit, but it's still got that,
Hmm.
the focus is on like the blues here with that. I
Yeah.
really like
Yeah.
that kind of pink, strawberry pink, like edging,
Yeah. It really
the
pops. Yeah.
shadow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tyler says the caricatures are spot on. Hell yeah. Very Sons of Anarchy is what Ali
Yeah.
says.
Nice. It looks
Yeah,
like you
this is
guys are
incredible.
out in front of the convenience store or something in a Clerks movie.
Exactly. We're too cool for school.
Yeah.
We're outside of the convenience store and we're talking about punk rock movies.
Yeah, totally. All right. So we got that one on a shirt. Ooh.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Beautiful.
That's a
Yeah,
punk
I
rock
can't wait to
t-shirt right
get
there.
yeah, now guys, let us know in the chat which shirt are you going to buy day 1 when these hit? I want to know.
All right. And last but not least, we got movie date. Davey and
My
Kate.
God. Dude. Oh my gosh. That is beautiful. Guys in the chat, give it up to Cole for look at his style. Not one design, like what's really cool is in each design there's a little bit of a different tinge to what you do. Yeah, man, the detail here, I can't wait to look at like high res images of all this. Oh, I can't. I hopefully, I don't know if Kate's watching right now. I know she's like trying to take care of some other stuff in the house, but hopefully she's seeing this because this is incredible. Damn. And Antona says this one is so creepy. Love the
Yeah.
theater seats too. I think the theater seats are a really nice touch. Like we're the
Yeah.
only ones there.
The popcorn bucket full of
Yeah.
goo.
Well, yeah. There's like an eyeball and a bone sticking out. That's amazing. Yeah, Big Rod says your art is amazing. Yeah, guys.
Oh, thanks,
Yeah,
guys.
Cole, you can get he's got t-shirts available. Cole works on a whole bunch of board games as well. So, he's out and about. This is what he does for a living. So if you guys have any projects that you're working on or you need art for something, you got to reach out to my guy here.
Yeah, hit me up. I do cover work for comics, for albums, movies, books, whatever.
Yeah, and hopefully you'll be working with our next guest here sometime in the near future on a bit of a graphic novel idea he's got. So yeah, that would be amazing to have you guys get together on that. And then Kate was able to jump in. She loves it.
Yeah, I
That
saw.
looks so good.
Yeah.
Unreal. I want that to replace our wedding photo. Or at least be right next to it. Come on.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and
Cool.
Cecil's saying he
Well,
definitely needs. Amazing.
I also wanted to share some of my other just kind of more recent pieces here. This is just all this work is just stuff I've done for fun. I try to draw every day, so
Yeah.
we got Red Sonja in the classic Frazetta style. You mentioned Frazetta earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I love me some guy like person on top of like a pile of corpses composition.
Yeah. Now I'm still seeing the t-shirt there. I don't know if if it's
Oh,
brought up
you
on a
are.
different screen. Yeah.
Let me check real quick. I think I have to just share a different window. Da, da, da. Da, da, da. Oh, it's me again.
And there it is. The fun of the live show, you know, we get to work it out with our amazing audience.
All right, so I got a new
go.
screen up. Okay.
Yeah. Man, the monochromatic. And just that really cool, like the splatter that you've got on there is great.
I always try to add some little, you know, just noise going on. It makes the piece more interesting.
Yeah, and it definitely, I think it, you know, as far as, you know, when you're drawing digitally, it just gives it a little bit more of that analog, like, you know, just that grittier look, you know.
Yeah, I'll actually go in and, like, you can tell on this piece, if you're looking at high res, like, I'll go in and I'll actually add like a noise layer to make it look more like it's on paper a little bit. Stuff like that. But yeah, this is the kind of stuff I would do for like some of the comic book covers and stuff I've done. You know, it's like this level of work.
Yeah, it's gorgeous, man.
We'll switch over to a ring wraith that I did.
Good old ring wraiths.
Yeah. Yeah, I just like how creepy they are, you know?
Yeah.
They're so kind of ominous and just hanging out in the forest.
Yeah, they are. Like, I felt like when, you know, because I didn't read the Harry Potter books, but when I saw the movies and they had the Dementors or whatever, I'm just,
oh yeah,
no, but I'm saying the Dementors and Harry Potter, I'm like, you guys just directly from Lord of the Rings? Like, we didn't even try to make it different.
Pretty much everything in Harry Potter things feels like it's derivative. You know, but,
yeah. Star Wars.
I mean, almost everything's derivative from Lord of the Rings, though, right?
Sure. Yeah. It is an OG. Ultimately. That's what Tyler says. Lord of the Rings is life.
Is life.
Gavin says your style would go great with some Mandy type movies.
Ooh, yeah, totally. Yep. Those are the kind of movie covers I want to do for sure. Here's another ring wraith. I was kind of in the like purplish mood here. There we go. Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Now, how long a piece like this with all this going on, like how long does this usually take you to put together something like this detailed?
I think this one took me about like 6 hours. But, you know, like that last one, if I go back to the last one here, it took a little less time just because I did most of the stuff was just like heavy blacks. I was just kind of like throwing a lot of black at the canvas and then like maybe like 3 or 4 different layers of color. But in this other one where he's holding the sword, I like spent a lot of time like actually drawing out all the details of the leaves and the ground and all the rest of the trees and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, the cloak is very detailed.
Yeah. But most of it is like just trick of the eye kind of stuff. Like I'm using different brushes and adding texture with like color to like make it look more detailed than it actually is, I guess.
Oh, gotcha. Just the way you color it in with the shading and everything.
Right. Yeah. Let's switch over to
my guy.
Your guy. I just wanted to do like guys in masks this day, I think.
That's it. I mean, the blue with the orange, it's got that, you know, very reminiscent of the look of the original film. You know, the backlighting is really cool. Everyone loves seeing Michael just standing there. It's one of the things he does best.
Yeah, if you saw this guy in the alley behind your house, like, it's not a good day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the you know, the contrast between the orange and the blue here. So amazing.
I think that's one of the things like with Halloween that is, you know, one of the reasons why people love it so much is, you know, Dean Cundy's cinematography and the way the original film was lit, like all that. I just think it's like carried for now going on almost 50 years. That even with some of the lesser sequels, when people think of Michael Myers, they think of, you know, how simple and elegant that first film was.
Right.
And this shot right here is very reminiscent of, you know, those aspects that Carpenter and the team brought together there.
Big Rod in the chat asked me if I sell prints. Yes, I do. They're kind of, right now, it's kind of hard to update all my prints just because I do so many pieces. But most of my stuff you can get like through my TeePublic site, because like they do on-demand printing for me and drop shipping. And so all my designs there you can get prints of through their site.
On TeePublic?
On TeePublic, yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Big Rod, I'll have to add that link to the description. So let's see here. I think I may be able to get it in there right after the stream here. So keep an eye out. Just reload once the stream is done, Big Rod, or hit me up with a DM somewhere and I can get you that link. So you can go ahead and purchase something there. And look at this guy.
I got the other man of little words here. Like I said, I think I was just in the mood to draw guys in masks this day. So
yeah. Well, and it's I love that, you know, again, just like the colors that you pick for these characters, they just go so well. And a really good likeness here. Like I like the Jason look is a little bit more like that Part 6 kind of era. I really like that. That's kind of my jam.
He's kind of got like the workman's jacket on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I really like this piece because like it's really dark everywhere else, and then you just got like this splash of white a little bit on the mask. Just really pops there in the center.
Yeah.
So cool.
We'll probably get more Freddy before we get more Jason with the way things are going.
Yeah. We don't talk about that. There's certain things we don't talk about at the dinner table, okay?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it just seems like as the days go on, the news gets worse for the Friday the 13th fans, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is awesome, man.
Yeah, a little more of that splatter you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta do the splatter. And then the last one I wanted to show you was my ring piece. We just watched The Ring. Like I was saying, we were watching those walking sim.
Yeah.
Rings. I got inspired here to do The Ring. Samara looking all creep.
That image of her climbing out of the television, I don't know, man. That's like still one of the most disturbing things. I don't know what it is.
She's all like twisted. Yeah. Badass.
Yeah, and it's in the original version and in the American version, it's like just as creepy and off-putting. She's got that hair in front of her, you know. Yeah. Looks beautiful.
Yeah, they always like to hide her face, which is fine, but I really like it when they actually show her face a little bit. It's just a little creepier. Yeah. That's what I wanted to do on this. I wanted to be kind of peeking out.
Yeah, and you brought in that kind of like that cold bluish green kind of look that they used, you know, throughout.
Yeah, this is an example of what I was talking about how like a lot of the work I like to do is just doing like one main color over everything, and then just doing like values of that color, like the monochromatic, you know.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love all the like the black like sinew dripping off of the TV as well, like kind of like with her hair, but then there's like the, you know, that's a really cool look.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's even dripping from the top of the frame as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just like a texture that I made real quick and then just threw on there.
Beautiful.
I made sure to give it like the old 80s TV.
Yeah, that's a Jamie was saying, I love that it's an old CRT TV. Yeah. Yeah, it's got like a knob there on the top.
Yeah.
That's old school.
Yeah,
beautiful,
cool.
Man. Yeah. So guys, You can check out Cole's art in the links in the description below. I know I totally biffed it by not having the TeePublic one there, but I will add it to the video once everything's aired. And yeah, if you guys are interested in, purchasing any of Cole's art, just shoot me a DM. I can send you that link directly if you'd like. And there's a couple other links in the description right now, so you can check out the, the WordPress and the Deviant art and all that kind of good stuff as well.
Yeah.
So.
Or if you want to talk about any projects you guys have, I'm always open to talk about stuff and get something going. So
yeah, and what's the best way if I put in your Instagram or something like that? Is that the best way for people to reach you, or do you want?
Yeah, you can DM me on any social or just email me. Yeah, everything is just my name, Cole MUNRO-CHITTY. So
perfect. There you go. I'll add it to the description as well. But yeah, guys, you can find Cole on Instagram and reach him there if you'd like to, have something put together for you. If you want to have a picture of you and your wife drawn as zombies in a movie theater, or you want a picture of yourself drawn as a vampire, Cole's your guy. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's like I wish I could really I can't wait to really look at the high res images and just pour over them. While I'm hosting the show, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's all so overwhelming. But yeah, so beautiful, man. I really love what you did. Totally blew my socks off with that, and everyone in the chat is so pumped on it as well. So that's really cool to see that enthusiasm for sure.
Hell yeah. Well, right on, guys. I'm going to get out, but I've got a couple of dates coming up. I'm going to be at GalaxyCon in Raleigh, North Carolina on July 25th through the 28th. Come and see me at the con. I'll have a booth set up there selling prints and stuff like that. But yeah, otherwise you can find me online. So
awesome. Well, thank you so much again, Cole. Yeah, guys, check out the links in the description below. Grab some of Cole's art, and I'll let you know when those designs are up on the shop and ready to purchase, so you guys can grab one of those beautiful Davey Deathray designs. I know people are going to want that movie punks. I know Foz, you're going to get some of those. I know you will. Awesome, man. Well, it's been great catching up and chatting about movies, and I can't wait to have you on again and catch up then as well. Have a great time at the con. If I don't speak to you, I'll speak to you in between now and then, because we got to deal with the shirts.
Hell yeah.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much for dropping in. Have a great rest of your night.
Cool. Take care. Thanks for having me.
Take care.
All right. Bye.